Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations on a variety of topics psychological, social, emotional, and mental health and coaching related. We try to do that as often as we can. We've got over 870 of these available for your listening pleasure on a consistent basis. We try to add multiple times per week, and this is if you know that your emotions are out of balance, what are some signs that you may know this? Emotional mastery, one of the most important things that a person can do in order to connect with themselves on a deeper level and gain control of their life in a meaningful way. How does one achieve emotional mastery? Going to kind of go through that now. But if you're looking for coaching, life, relationship, business, or just behavioral modification, would love to be of a service to you in that way. Please feel free to reach out. A couple ways to do that: in the About Me section of this YouTube page, and or in the at PO Perception YouTube, Twitter handle, and we'll get there from here. In any event, so what are some things we need to look at? Half listening. If you're only half listening, that means you're invested more in what your opinion or viewpoint is on a topic than you are in the connection with an individual who you're trying to formulate a rapport and build a rapport with. So, active listening is required. When you're half listening, it also means you've made up your mind about whether a person is useful or not in your own foray into the future you're trying to build. That means at the end of the day that you have preconceived notions that are hindering your ability to build a meaningful, lasting rapport. The next thing is, if you are emotionally kind of unhinged, the entitlement card played through the concept of revenge may be playing more in your life than it should, and also may cause you to act in ways that are not honoring or respectful to the ideas that you're trying to achieve. This doesn't necessarily mean that every person who is ever in a negative way or a unbalanced way is always going to have those issues. But if you are struggling in the direction of trying to find a way to address whether your emotions are out of balance, the preoccupation with the idea of revenge is a good indicator that you may be having issues in this area. The next thing to look at is the blame game. So, if you are in a scenario where you're blaming other people for your circumstances or blaming your circumstances for your inability to move forward, chances are your emotions are out of balance. In reality, we are at least partially responsible for every decision we make, even if the responsibility comes down to the fact that we didn't have as much information as we needed to make an intelligent or well-meaning decision. It doesn't mean that we don't hold some level of responsibility. Unfortunately, people who play the blame game often want to shirk that responsibility or sidestep the responsibility with the claim or the idea that in the end a person is ultimately not to blame because they haven't had benefit or whatever the case may be of an easier life value. When we have that reality, then we often get into entitlement and the blame game continues to go out of control. Uh, so, um, the next thing to consider is details. People who are committed to the process of having healthy relationships and meaningful ones in the long and short run of it are capable of focusing on details in relationships because they're actively listening. The ability to get stuck on details, though, is another problem. If one gets stuck on the fact that someone runs late or someone forgot something or whatever the case may be, becoming stuck on the narrative of small details from past experiences can show emotional imbalance. Rumination and the preoccupation with emotion of a negative vein can often lead to psychological and mental health challenges as it relates to rumination actually being able to scientifically change brain chemistry. So this can be a negative thing for a number of reasons. The last thing to consider is the possibility of not pausing enough to reflect upon emotional state and emotional core. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that one has to be virtually or emotionally, negatively affected all the time, but at least being able to pause to be able to reflect upon emotions, articulate them, and then choose which ones need to be embraced and need to be discarded is important as well. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.